Stay a while and listen.
Good afternoon, my Diablo 2 brethren, and welcome back. Today's video is going to talk about a brand new launch that I'm excited to do, one of the core elements of this channel, and that is going to be Darth's Item Emporium. So right now what I'm doing is collecting a bunch of non-ladder items, putting them into stashes, if you will, onto mules, and I'm keeping them for anybody that needs them. So the whole purpose of this particular I guess, function is to allow some items to be claimed by people who need them. Ultimately, this is going to be a nice community sharing piece and something hopefully we can get people to maybe polish off a couple of last little pieces of their gear or just stuff to help them, get together and maybe beat Nightmare the first time, whatever it might be. I'm going to try and keep items that are of reasonable value. I'm not just going to post a bunch of junk in there because nobody wants the junk, right? I've seen free games all the time where people go in there and they throw down the stupidest stuff that nobody's ever going to want. Does anybody ever really want Sanders Taboo? No, they don't. I'll try and give actual things that have positive value that you could actually use. And then however you choose to use it at that point is going to be up to you. So with that said, without further ado, you can access this through a Google Doc or Google Sheet that I have in there. You can find that link in the description. That is going to be a live link for a very long time. If you see something that you need or want, that's when you would come in and you would make a comment and say, it'd be really great if I could have this. Obviously, some of the things are going to get more traction than others. Maybe we'll do first come, first serve in some aspects, but probably not. We'll probably try and be fair about it, depending if there's a bunch of people that want a particular item. I'll try to take a arbitrary and fair process to divvy those out. So let's have a look at what we're actually looking at here and how you can interact with this thing, or at least how to use it. So it's not very difficult if you've ever used a spreadsheet before. So this is the main basis of the Emporium. I have broken things down into each of the individual spots so you can easily look through and browse in particular areas of need. So you'll have all of the main slots: helmets, weapons, shields, armor, gloves, belts, boots, charms, amulets, and rings. The one thing that I do not have in here is I do not have runes. If you are looking for mid rune or something like that, you can always ask and see if I got one. I take every rune that I find all the way down to L and I cube them up, so I have lots and lots and lots of runes. I haven't used a rune in a long time, so I have a bunch of them just kind of sitting around. If there's ever a compelling need where you might be like, if I just had this one, you know, Ko rune, I can make the Harmony Bow. You know what? Let me know. I can find you a Ko rune without too much fuss. The way that this is going to look visually speaking here is I've color coded everything so that you can understand what it actually means. Green obviously means that it is part of a set piece. The brown, if you will, is a unique. And so then you can easily get at a glance what's actually in here. There will be blue for magical. There will be just plain white for whites. Should all be pretty straightforward. So I've categorized main mods that make sense to actually display on here. Otherwise, in things like uniques, a lot of uniques have a lot of mods on them. I'm not going to list them all. I only listed 5 spots, mostly to cater towards rare rings and amulets, so you can see what's actually on there. Same with like Taurasha's mask here. The only thing I wanted to put on here is just some main notes about it. These are things that you can easily look up online and see what those things actually entail. Where some of the things that are a little bit more obscure, or you don't know the affixes on them, you can just read what I got here. So I have more than just this here, so I will be updating this several times a week as I find more and more stuff. Again, I'm not going to put just junk out here. If anybody makes a comment that something is just pure junk and not worth posting, I'll certainly take that into consideration. And if it sits for a long period of time, I'll definitely remove it. There are some things that don't have value that I might post anyways. For example, I just found a unique Yari that I had never seen before in all the time that I've played. Nobody's going to use a Yari because I think it's a spear class weapon, so unless you're making a spears on, but even if you're doing a spears on, you'd probably use a rune word instead. And so the Act 2 mercs are never going to use it either because they almost always have a rune word. But I thought it was neat because it had 3 open sockets and it cranked out a lot of damage. So it might be valuable to somebody, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's going to be valuable. It does have a fairly low level requirement too, but I'll get that posted out here as soon as I'm able to, probably later today sometime if I can. So I'll just go through the initial pages right now just to show you what sort of stuff I'm collecting, and then you'll be free to claim whatever you need or whatever you'd like, and then we'll go on what the evolution of this is going to be in just a moment. So moving to the weapons tab, a lot more weapons out here. So one of the most frustrating finds that I've had in all my years. So I found pretty much the second worst Ishudas that you could possibly find. So it rolled pretty much lowest on all of the things that it can roll, and on top of that, it rolled on ethereal. So I got no need for it, and I don't know how much use it's going to be for anybody else, but somebody who's got a sorceress, you could use it for a while and just hope you never get hit. Maybe then you'll be fine, but there is a Ishudas out there if you want it, and I think I actually spelled it incorrectly, but you get the point here. So you see a lot of greens and a lot of browns. So some of the ones that I mentioned that might not be useful. So you look at something like this Flame Bellow Balrog blade. I put this one on here because it has a whole bunch of extra fire damage. So if you're brand new into Hell, for example, and just purely struggling with a barb, and maybe you have one of these already and you want to rock 2 of them. I did that when I first actually went into Hell difficulty with my barbarian. Rock 2 of these things until somebody gave me a free pair of Oath Balrog blades. I've been using those ever since. Um, but there's no plus skills per se, but they are plus fire skills, which obviously isn't great for a barbarian, but the extra damage certainly is. Most of the things that I put out here are going to have things that have practical value, like the rib cracker. I didn't put any of the mods in there. Everybody who wants a rib cracker should know what a rib cracker is. If not, you can always just put that name in there and Google it and look it up. Um, I left some white ones in here. So the white ones in here are for things like you'll see in the notes, I have open sockets. So saving bases if you need a base for a particular item. I'll be honest, I don't know all of the base numbers for all of the things. When you want a flail, when you want a crystal sword, when you want a phase blade, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to try and keep as many of those things as possible. If, for example, there's no reason for a 3-socket flail, I won't put it in there. So a little bit of insight would be helpful on that front in terms of like the best bases that you want to see. Otherwise, I know the main players, the phase blades, the dust shrouds, the archon plates, things like that. I'll try and keep that you know pretty straightforward. Moving into shields, bunch of monarchs. I showed those in the opener video. There's a lidless wall in there, and then there's a Moser's blessing. This one here might be one of the ones that ultimately gets pulled off. It's like Moser's blessing or whatever. It doesn't have any plus skills, and I think most people that are using it probably are going to have some sort of a spirit shield or something else. Anyways, I put it on here because it was low level and it gives all res 25, and it's got 2 open sockets. So even though it's not highly sought after, it could be usable by somebody if you literally have nothing else. Maybe it works for you, but I would assume by level 30, if you're playing a paladin, you probably already have a pretty awesome paladin shield, and beyond that, who are you going to use it for except for maybe a single-handed druid, if you will. Not a lot of people need to use that, but it's out here free for the taking if anybody wants it. Armors, great Halberd in there. That's an open socket one for a base. Griswolds, a bunch of Duriel shells. I find these all the time, so I'm just going to keep dropping those in there. Don't sleep on Duriel shell. I use it on a lot of characters all the time, just because I don't have the wealth for the rune words, and it's low requirement. So and the cannot be frozen is great. Um, so always have those laying around. I think I still have 3 of them in circulation on my characters now, in addition to these 2 here. Gloves, frost burns, and venom grip right now. I will also be posting the plus skills one, so we'll give you the jab gloves and the trapper gloves, whatever it might be. I'll look for ones with dual res and tri res. I'll put those out here as I find them too. provided they're not something that I already want to use on one of my characters. Um, which there's not a lot of overlap there. Most of my characters that I have built are either really, really low, where I'm not going to care if I miss something, especially if it's like level 60 or 70. I'm certainly not going to miss that, and I'll find something later. Or they're already level 60, 70, 80, and I don't need it anymore. So I'll drop what I can in here and try and get a wide variety of level bases as well, so that you can have the reses at various spots on your journey. Um, Belts, I put a single spiderweb sash in here. This is for a Charcy imbue quest. It's one of the only items that I actually imbue. I find enough gloves and I find enough boots that I don't imbue them anymore, but I rarely find any actual good belts. So usually I use my Charcy quest on spiderweb sash. I've gotten a couple of decent things out of there, but I left it out there if anyone wants to give it a go. Otherwise, basic stuff out here. Um, Going back to things like not being useful. Arctic bindings and the Arctic horn, for example, the bow. I include those because they have a high res and you can wear them at level 2. So you can get this for your starting character. If you wanted to go full Arctic for a boson, not a bad idea. It's a good way to start through normal. I don't have all the pieces right now anymore. I used to, but just the bow and the belt at this point here. So not everything that is in here is going to be like super high level and extreme worth. So for example, like Saigons, I've seen people rock full Saigons if they want it. It's a low level requirement. People are always looking for it. So it's not super great. It's not end game gear, but it is useful to some people. Boots at the moment, got a pair of rare ones. They have cold and fire res, both with pretty good rolls on them, as well as faster run walk. So this is a great pair of boots. I know it's not any type of a unique or anything, but rare boots are nice to have, and those are some pretty baller resistances, if you ask me. A couple of war travs out there, goblins and sandstorms. I just picked up a pair of sandstorms last night, so there will be another one on here. Charms, I got a bunch of charms. I haven't listed them. I have a boatload of Sunder charms. I don't know why I'm keeping them, but I have like 8 fire Sunder charms right now, and I don't have a single fire character right now. I have a fire druid, um, but I haven't even gotten to the point of actually using that yet. So a lot of Sunder charms. There's a few that are good, like in the 71, 72% range. So there's some that are rolling really close to perfect. So if you get them while they're hot, you might get a good one. Um, I have one of each right now. I have a Magic Sunder. I only have one of them. I might actually throw it on my Hammerden just to deal with that one wave in Bale's Throne Room with those magic immune, like the one monster in the entire game. That said, my Hammerden's likely going to be for just doing runs and rushes anyways, so I don't really need it that much. But something like the Bone Break for physical, I'm going to keep that one because I have a Barbarian and I need the physical Sunder there. But the other elementals, I'll have plenty of them to go around, and I'll keep dropping them in here as I find them. I found myself doing more and more Terror Zone farming lately, just because it just felt like the place to go when I'm by myself. Current amulets. Bunch of just regular magic ones. So I'm trying to find ones that are plus skills or something that's got high utility. With one exception, I put this one in here. This is kind of out there just as sort of a passing of the torch. This is literally what I used for a big chunk of my time with my summon necromancer because I just didn't have Enigma. I ultimately found a rare version. It had +2 to druid skills on it. That wasn't for me, and a couple of resistances and stuff, but it also had tele charges on it too. But if you're a struggling necromancer, it might get you where you need to go. It's only a level requirement of 18. It's a pain to constantly teleport and repair this thing. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of gold repairing my tele charges until someone finally provided me an enigma. So but otherwise, most of these things will have reasonable stats on them, either plus skills globally or individual trees, if you will. Try and include ones that have light resistance and such. When we talk about the all res and the light res, I don't include the two in there, so I'm saying all res. Like in this case here, it's going to say all res. It'll be fire, ice, and poison 9%, and then the light res will actually say 33. I'm just saying that this one rolled a 24 here, and you'd add the two together. I don't know. I didn't want people to get confused. I think no matter which way I do it, people would get confused. If I say all res 9 and then 24 is like, does it include it? Does it not include it? I don't know. This is just how I'm going to do it. So that's how I do it. So I'll try and put those types of things out there so that you can get some extra skills on them until you find your amulet of choice. And the last one is rings. I don't have a lot of rings right now. Generally, I've been tossing out the rare rings, and most of the rare rings have been garbage anyways. So I'm looking for ones that have reasonable resistance drops on them, as well as other stats. If I can find a nice 3 or 4 point ring, I'll throw it out here. If I find a nice 5 point ring, I'm probably going to keep it. I have lots of characters that could use rings. I have no shortage of mantled heels and Nago rings and stuff like that. I forgot to list them. I will ultimately get that out here as well. So if you're trying to build a low level magic finder, just want the mantled heels or whatever it might be, I do have those. I just haven't put them out there. But that is a quick look at the Emporium. So where we're going to go from here, I do have a couple of things in mind. So one, this is only catering to non-ladder and softcore right now. There's obviously 4 quadrants to the game. I just came up with this idea when I started to build the channel, and I thought this would be a great way to cater to the community. But there's a lot of people that are playing ladder right now, and this is obviously not helping them. It's not helping people with hardcore either. I will develop some additional sheets too. I don't know how I'm going to implement them in here. I'm thinking I'm going to do 4 separate sheets, just so that it's very clear which one is which, and that'll be the easiest way to sort through versus having multiple tabs for each of the individual items. I think that'll just cause more confusion. I'll toy around with it and see what I can get working, but ultimately I want to try and make it as easy to use as possible. One of the things about this Emporium as well is I'm hoping to ultimately be able to cater some trading, if you will. Not saying that I want to specifically trade with you. Obviously, I will if you find something that you want to trade. But having these things exist across multiple different quadrants will give us an option to seek out different areas. So it could facilitate something like I'll give you a perfect paladin torch in non-ladder if you give me a ladder ist, for example. Something like that. When we get into the actual trade windows for the cross-platform trading, I'll have extra windows for those. There's certain things that I'm not going to give away that I would be willing to trade. And so if we have a trade marketplace, this could be something that we could either facilitate or do some other type of work with it, and ultimately allow people to kind of trade across different facets of the game. I know you could easily go on one of the other sites and use forum gold if you want, and trade your stuff in one to get some gold and use that gold in another one. I don't participate in that particular community, but I would be willing to offload some of my non-ladder stuff to get a ladder item or vice versa, if the stuff is in alignment. The other thing that I'm going to open up as soon as I get ready to roll with it is going to be a lending program. This one will either be a really great community involvement thing, or it'll be a massive, massive backfire. I don't really know which one yet. But this will be an instance where I have items out here that are out for lease, if you will, and they will be for you to test out and play with and see if it's something that you want to do. And then when you're done with it, you just return it back. Someone else can use it. The key thing being that people would have to return it back. So I will keep it as a regular open thing to start with. Just go ahead and use it. When you're done with it, give it back. That's how it's going to start. If I find that people quit playing and they realize that they never gave this thing back, I'm not going to hound any before it. The only stuff I'm going to put out here is stuff that I can afford to lose anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal. But if there's more valuable stuff that I'm not using, I might do like a lease program instead. Be like, you can use this for as long as you want, just give me a small bit of collateral instead. So I would trade you, let's say I'm done with one of my enigmas for now. You can have this enigma for as long as you want it, but give me an Istruin for now. When you're done with it, I'll give you your Istruin back, and so on and so forth. Very straightforward. I just got to build inventory for that as well. So I have a lot of junk that's just going to go into the regular old Emporium as a whole. But there are some more valuable things where I feel like it'd be nice to have those things back so other people can share in the wealth. And another token is if I put something really valuable out in just the items area, I don't want people to use this to just flip items. So that's why I don't put some of the other things out here. Like I'm not going to put my stones out here or my Bolcathos rings out here, and then have people just be like, oh, I got a BK and I'm going to trade it for something else that I actually want. That's not the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to get things that people can actually use and want to use on their characters, not for flipping into your own profit. If you want to take anything that you got on here and flip it for profit, that's your own karma. That's not mine. But that's also why I'm not going to put high runes on here and ultra valuable things that I can't afford to lose. So once I'm done with my Javazon, for example, I'll have a Griffins out there. Somebody can use that Griffins as long as they want. Maybe you find out that the Javazon is not for you, return it back. Someone else can try it, and that's how that's going to work. So that's all I got for today. Remember to check out that link. And if you have anything that you're looking for, you can let me know in comments. If there's something on there that you'd like to claim, let me know in comments too. I'll try and get back to people as I see comments. And I'll try and keep this thing as up to date and stocked as possible. I'm not going to do daily posts on this thing here. I'll just put things in there as I find them, so you'll have to check back frequently. I will do regular updates to the actual inventory and just let people know new things that I've found and added in there, especially if you haven't been into the sheet for a while, because let's say you look at it today and you just didn't see anything. And then I go in and I find a couple of really great sets of gloves, and I find 4 different pairs of chance guards and throw them out there. I might do an update in a week or so saying, here's the new things that I've added or things that I'm adding right now. Go ahead and take a look, and you can get casual updates on that front. Otherwise, till next time, I will see you out there. Hail to you, champion.